Change is only effective if people feel that it's for them, not happening to them.
No, we're not going to do that because this is the way we've always done it. It's very important for the people involved in agriculture to try to learn new things and to seek out information.
It's amazing how much we still don't know.
I grew up on the ranch.
South of Harlowton, 10 miles, or north of Big Timber, 35 miles, depending on who you're talking to.
I can remember days when I was a kid trudging around in the mud and the snow with my father.
Lighting fires when I probably shouldn't have been lighting fires.
I am the fourth generation.
I'm the fifth generation to be involved in managing the ranch. That's where we're at, 109 years later.
Agriculture got highs and it's got lows. Interest rates in the 80s got up around 20%. You couldn't make any money doing anything. There were some economic reasons for making some changes. And since our business is harvesting sunlight through our grass, we were looking for ways to harvest our grass better.
My dad started learning about holistic management. The basic tenet is that there's a lot that we can learn from what nature's doing.
My great uncle, he talked about how the buffalo grazed in herds of hundreds of thousands that just kept moving. So he understood the philosophy behind it. Graze the land with a lot of cattle for a very short period of time, possibly not come back to that piece of ground again for another year. Some of the neighbors wondered what the heck we were doing. Some of them still do. At one point, we had a state lease. One of our neighbors turned us into the Department of Natural Resources to say we were abusing the ground. The fellow from DNRC couldn't figure out what they were talking about and finally discovered the piece of land that said that we were abusing looked better than the other pieces of the ground around it. It's a more intensive style of management. It worked out very, very well for us. My son, Zach, took it to a different level. I realized he was smarter than I was and had more ambition, so it wasn't hard for me to step aside to let him run with it.
I've managed ranches in Florida and Montana and South Dakota and Hawaii and New Zealand. Some people have called me the director of disturbance. Disturbance is a beneficial activity, but also sometimes very annoying.
He has done an excellent job training his management team in the same kind of philosophy.
We had an opportunity on our ranch. I wasn't here. Stuart and Kathleen, they've been here for 3 years now or going a little further. They're doing a fantastic job.
Both of us really wanted to practice regenerative agriculture. It was just a really exciting opportunity. We start calving on May 20th and go into July, whereas most folks are calving in February or March.
You don't see any other large mammals having babies in January, February, and March.
So we don't have a need to be feeding a lot of hay.
We just buy 30 days worth to get through a blizzard or anything like that. Otherwise, we're grazing year-round.
Your equipment and feed is greatly reduced. That affects the balance sheet. Mimicking nature and managing holistically and making these decisions, we realized there wasn't a market. Like, we still had to sell our animals to the grain-fed system or through auction yards. Yellowstone Grassfed beef officially started in 2011.
Zachary had double T beef, which was beef just coming from Two Dot. Brian Ellering of J-Bar-L had Centennial Natural Beef. They were very philosophically aligned, so they joined forces and created Yellowstone Grass-Fed beef.
We felt like the end was better for where our product was going. By doing that, though, we had to go into the towns, start relationships with chefs, grocery managers, universities, people that would buy our beef. 95% of our beef is sold in the state of Montana. It's a Montana company, like through and through, and we're really proud of that, but it's also kind of mimics nature once again, you know? Like, why spread it out all over the country if we can really first tap into the resources we have around us? Going further away from mimicking nature towards less diversity, less carbon in your soils, more floods, greater intensity of droughts, because of what your soil service is like, that's just not a good path to go down. Grazing differently can not only stop that, but it can start to rebuild the organic carbon levels in our soils.
For me, it comes down to the soil, and that's the science nerd in me. The reason we're grazing our cows this way is to improve soil health, and soil health improves your grass health, creating a healthy product in the end. And if we can continue to create that healthy product while we're improving the landscape, then we can continue to have these rural ranching communities that will thrive for years to come.
We're not going to lose our biological capacity overnight. It's just going to slowly drip away. 10 years from now, 30 years from now, 60 years from now, we'll never really know what happened, even though you can actually see it coming and is actually preventable.
I think every rancher is an optimist. They have to be. My great-grandfather used to say, we've had 2 good years, 1912 and next year. So you've got to be optimistic about the future.
It's a special skill to do things differently without it being perceived that you're disregarding the past in your family's legacy. It's not that. It's about moving forward. The challenge of holistic management going forward is to change that message that what we're doing here, it's not change happening to you, it's change happening for you. It's for your business and for your family.
There's very few operations around here that have the same kind of philosophical attitude about what to do with the land. I'm not saying what the other people is, there anything wrong with it. They're plumb happy doing what they're doing. Some of them are successful, some of them are not. Personally, I feel it was the right decision at the right time. Looking back, I would have done it again.
We as people in this place are still trying to understand what our role here is. It's important to wake up every day and recognize that there's way more we don't know than we actually do know.